Jai Hind. I am Ms. Lipika Goel, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering from Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today, I am going to present a lecture on discrete structure and theory of logic with the topic of posets and lattices. Let us start. First, let us have a look at what is a partial order. A partial ordering, or what is called a partial order, is a relation that is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. Means if we talk of any relation R and if it satisfies the three property of reflexivity, antisymmetric and transitive, we say that relation defined on a set is a poset or partially ordered relation, and such a set is called a partially ordered set. Now let us have a quick look at what do I mean by reflexivity, antisymmetry and transitivity. Reflexive relation or reflexivity is if I have a set S with say the elements A, B and C and the relation is defined R. So that relation should have A, B, B and C, C present. That is, A should belong to R for all A that belongs to the set S. This property is called the reflexivity or reflexive nature of a relation. Coming on to the antisymmetric. Antisymmetric property says that if A is related to B, if A are B, then B will be related to A if and only if A is equal to B. That is, antisymmetric means that if AB belongs to R, then BA will not belong to R unless and until B is equal to A. That means if A belongs to R and if A is related to B and B is related to A, this implies that A is equal to B. So, and third is the transitive. Transitive property says if A is related to B and B is related to C, then A should also be related to C. This is the transitive property of relation. So, thus AA is allowed to be in R because it is reflexive, transitive, but since it is reflexive, all possible AA must be in R. So, if a relation satisfies the three properties of reflexive, antisymmetric and transitive, we say it is a partial order. Now coming on to a partial ordered set. How do I define a poset? A relation R on a set S is called a partial ordering or a partial order if it is reflexive, antisymmetric and transitive, as I discussed before. So, a set together, now I am talking about this set S. Now, this set together with the partial ordering R is called a partially ordered set or a poset, that is denoted by S of R. So, when a set S has this partial order, a set S together with this partial ordering relation is called a poset. Let us take an example. Set is defined with the elements 1, 2, 3 and I have a relation that is defined as R 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 and 3, 2. Now the question is whether this set S is a poset or not. So for this we are going to check the three properties. What are the three properties? First, for the reflexive, second is antisymmetric and third is transitive. So for the reflexivity, the elements are 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Are these three ordered pairs present in the relation R? So 1, 1 is present, 2, 2 is there and 3, 3 is there. So reflexive nature is satisfied. Next, let us check for antisymmetric. If A is related to B is present, then B and related to A should only be there when A is equal to B. So we saw here that 1, 2 is present, 2, 1 is not here. It's fine. 3, 1 is there, 1, 3 is not there. 3, 2 is there, 2, 3 is not there. So it is antisymmetric. Third property is the transitive. The transitive nature says if A is related to B and B is related to C, then A should also be related to C. Let us check whether it satisfies here or not. It says 1 is related to 2, 2 is related to 2. So 1 comma 2 should be present. It is there. Again 3 is related to 1, 1 is related to 1, so 3 comma 1 is there. 3 is related to 2, 2 is again related to 2, and 3 comma 2 is there. So the transitive nature is also satisfied. So therefore I can say this set S is a poset because it is a partially ordered set, because it has a partial ordering and it satisfies all these three properties. In a poset, the notation A precedes B denotes that AB belongs to R. This notation is used because the less than or equal to relation is a paradigm for partial ordering. The notation A precedes B denotes that A strictly precedes B, but A is not equal to B. Let us understand this with an example. We have a set S with the elements 1, 2, 3, and this is the same set of ordered pairs. This relation is defined. How do I define it in the form of an arrow diagram? These are the elements 1, 2, 3. 1 is related to 1, so therefore it is forming a self loop. 2 is related to 2, again here there is a loop, and 3 is related to 3, there is a loop. Now 1 comma 2 is there, so there will be a directed edge from 1 to 2. Then 3 comma 1, so 3 comma 1 means there is a directed edge from 3 to 1, and 3 comma 2 means a directed edge from 3 to 2. Show that greater than equal to is a partial order on the set of integers. So we have to, so what is the set I have? Set is the set of integers. I have the set of integers that maybe I can denote by Z. Now the relation R that is defined is greater than equal to. Now we have to prove for reflexive, antisymmetric and transitive. It is reflexive because if A is greater, I pick up any of the integer. If I say A is greater than equal to A, it's true for all A belongs to Z. Let us look at the antisymmetric property. If A is greater than equal to B and B is greater than equal to A, this scenario is only possible when B is equal to A, and this is what the antisymmetric property states. The third is transitive. It says if A is greater than B and B is greater than C, then obviously A will be greater than C for all the set of integers. And therefore, since it satisfies all the three properties of reflexive, antisymmetric and transitive, we can say that this is a partially ordered set. So, the set of integers defined on this relation greater than equal to is a poset. Note that this is the partial ordering on the set of integers. Z, this is the partial ordered set. So, Z is the set of integers and greater than equal to is the relation that is defined on the set of integers. Then coming on to comparable and incomparable. Now, the element A and B of a poset S are called comparable if either A precedes B or B precedes A. Whenever A and B are where N and A and B are the elements of S such that A precedes B, neither A precedes B nor B precedes A, then we say that they are incomparable. So, the elements of the set A and B of a poset S will be called comparable, where either A will precede B or B will precede A. But if neither of them are true, then they are incomparable. Let us take an example. Consider the power set A, B, C and the subset relation. AC is not a subset of AB and AB is not a subset of AC. Therefore, this is incomparable. AC and AB are incomparable. Now, totally ordered. If S, and this is the defined as it precedes, is a poset and every two elements of S are comparable. I am talking of a poset S and every two elements are comparable, then such a poset is called a totally ordered or linearly ordered set. Means when every pair of every two elements are comparable, then we say they are totally ordered or linearly ordered set. And this is called a total order or a linear order. This procedure is called a total order or a linear order, whatever relation is being given. A totally ordered set is also called a chain. Let us take an example. In the poset Z plus means the set of positive integers and less than equal to are the integers 3 and 9 are comparable. Yes, as 3 is less than equal to 9. Are 7 and 5 comparable? Yes, because 5 is less than 7. Either A precedes B or B precedes A. So, as all the pairs of the elements in the set of positive integers are comparable, now this poset is a total ordered or linearly ordered set. In the poset of set of positive integers with the relation divides, now I have the relation divides operator. Are the integers 3 and 9 comparable? Yes, because 3 and 9. So, 9 is divisible by 3. 3 divides 9. Yes, they are comparable. Are 7 and 5 comparable? No. Why? Because neither A precedes B nor B precedes A. Means neither 7 is divided by 5 nor 5 is divisible by 7. So, in either of the case, they are not comparable. Therefore, it is not comparable. So, thus as there are pair of elements in this set of positive integers which are not comparable, not all the pairs of positive integers are comparable under the relation of divides. Therefore, I can say that this is not every pair is not comparable, therefore, this is not a total ordered set or this is not a chain. So, when we consider such kind of sets where every pair we pick up any two elements from that set defined in a particular relation, they are comparable. Either A precedes B or B precedes A. In that case, we can say that it is a totally ordered set or it is a chain. Otherwise, it is not. Next, we define a well-ordered set. What is a well-ordered set? S is a well-ordered set if it is a poset. First, it is a poset such that the relation is a total ordering and such that every non-empty subset S has a least element. Now, this is a new term as a least element. We will discuss on this. So, we define a well-ordered set as that every S will be a well-ordered set such that it has total ordered and every non-empty subset of S has a least element. Let us consider an example. Consider the ordered pair of positive integers Z plus where A1, A2 precedes B1, B2 if A1 is less than B1 or if A1 is equal to B1 and A2 is less than equal to B2. So, well ordered set examples. Let us take an example. Suppose I have a set of integers and the relation that is defined is less than equal to. Now, we have already seen before that every element here is comparable to every other element and therefore, it is a totally ordered poset. Either A will be less than equal to B or B is less than equal to A. But it will not have any least element because there is no one element in this particular set which will precede all the other elements in the set. Because it is a general set of integers. If I talk of say 1, 0 is there which precedes 1. I talk of 0, there is minus 1 which precedes 0. I talk of minus 10, there is minus 11 that precedes 1. So, there is no, it does not have a least element and therefore, it is not a well ordered set. But if I take the second example where I have a defined set with the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, the relation defined here is less than equal to. It is a total ordered poset as discussed before. Every two elements in this set are comparable. Either A is less than B or B is less than A and 1 here will be the least element of this set. Suppose I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is less than 2, 1 is less than 3, here 1 is less than 4 and 1 is less than 5. So, 1 is that element that precedes all elements in the set. So, it precedes all the element in the set. So, since it precedes all the element in the set, therefore, it is the least element. and hence it satisfies both the properties where it has a least element as well as it is totally ordered, and hence it is a well ordered set. Example. Now coming on to the hash diagrams. Hash diagram is a way to represent any partially ordered set or any partial order relation. So when we are given any partial order relation defined on a finite set, it is possible to draw a directed graph so that all these properties are satisfied. Now this makes it possible to associate somewhat a simpler graph, and this simpler graph is called the hash diagram. Hash diagram with a partial order relation defined on a finite set. Let us see how do we draw a hash diagram with the help of a directed graph. So we start with a directed graph of the relation in which the arrows point upwards, and then we eliminate first all the loops at all the vertices. Loops are when that particular node is related to itself. So we remove the loops. All the arrows whose existence is implied by the transitivity or transitive property, we remove that also. That means there is an edge from A to B, and there is an arrow from B to C, and an arrow from A to C. So we'll remove that edge from A to C because it is implication of the transitive property. And the third, the direction indicators on the arrows are also removed. Let us take an example. Suppose I have a set A with the elements 1, 2, 3, 9 and 18, and consider the divides relation on the set. So this is a simple graph that I have drawn, depicted to depict the relation divides on the set of set A. Now for all AB that belongs to A divides B implies B is equal to Ka for some integer k. So here there is 1 is divisible by 1, 2 is divisible by 2, similarly 18 is divisible by 18, 99 is divisible by 9, 3 is divisible by 9. So there are self loops at each of the node, and then 1 is divisible to every number. 1 is divisible to 1, to 18, similarly to 9 and similarly to 3. After that 2 divides 18, 9 also divides 18, 3 divides 9. So all the possible combinations, all the possible ordered pair which satisfies these property of divides have been depicted in this directed graph. Now when I have to draw the hash diagram, the first step that I will do is I will eliminate the loop at all the vertices. So I am going to remove all these self loops because in the hash diagram we don't show the self loops. The second is wherever the transitive property has been implied, we are going to eliminate all the arrows whose existence is implied by the transitive property. So therefore a transitive property in the sense, suppose 1 is related to 3 and 3 is related to 9, and again I am showing 1 is related to 9. So this arrow will be eliminated. Similarly 1 is related to 2 and 2 is related to 18. So an arrow from 1 to 18 is implying the transitive property is going to be deleted, eliminated. So these kind, wherever we have implication of the transitive property, we are going to eliminate that. And third, we are going to eliminate all these direction indicators on the arrows. So then we get the hash diagram for it. Let us see how our hash diagram will look. I have 1, 2, 3, 9 and 18. So 1 divides 2, 2 divides 18. So 1 to 18 is not required. 1 divides 3, 3 divides 9 and 9 divides 18. Again divisibility from 1 to 18 or 3 to 18 is again not required. So I have removed the loops, I have removed the indicators on the arrows, and I have removed all the implications of the transitive property. So this will be my hash diagram for this particular directed graph. These are few of the hash diagram for the posets 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 18, 12 with the property of division. Again we can see here this is the first initial directed graph, then here the self loops have been removed, and finally this is the hash diagram where what are the elements? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12. These are the elements of the set. The relation is division. 1 divides 2, 1 divides 3. 2 divides 4, therefore 1 divides 4 is not required. 4 divides 8, therefore 1 divides 8 and 2 divides 8 is not required. Again, 1 divides 3, 3 divides 6, 6 divides 2, 2 also divides 6 and 4 also divides 12. So, when I have shown 2 divides 4 and 4 divides 12, I need not make an arrow from 2 to 12. So, this will be my final hash diagram for this particular poset with the relation divisibility. This is the construct the hash diagram for the power set ABC with the relation subset. Let us first see that what will be the power sets. The first is the null set. What will be the elements? The other will be A, B, C, then I will have AB, I will have BC, AC and A, B and C. These are the power sets, these are the sets which I am going to have. So, when I am going to draw the hash diagram, these are the elements which I have already stated. Now, null is a subset of A, null is a subset of B, null is a subset of C. A is a subset of AB, A is a subset of AC, AB or from here B is a subset of AB, B is a subset of AC, BC, C is a subset of AC and C is a subset of BC. And AB, AC, BC are all the subsets of ABC. So, this is my least element and this is my greatest element. Now, coming on to the maximal and the minimal elements. A is the maximal element in the poset if there is no B that belongs to S such that B succeeds A or A precedes B. That means it is the maximal element. There is no other element in the set that succeeds A. Similarly, an element in the poset is called the minimal if it is not greater than any element of the poset. That is, A is minimal if there is no element such that there is no element in the set such that it precedes A. Then A is the least element. So, when A precedes B, that is there is no element B that succeeds A, then A is the maximal element, and there is no element B in the set that precedes A, then A is the least minimal element. This is the meaning of the maximal and the minimal element. So, it is possible to have multiple minimal and multiple maximal elements. Then coming on to the greatest element and the least element. So, A is the greatest element of the poset if B precedes A for all B belongs to S. That is, it is the greatest element of the poset. Similarly, an element of a poset is called the least element if it is less or equal than all the other elements in the poset, that is A is the least element. If I look at it in this diagram, there is an element 1 that precedes all the other element in the set. There is no other element that further precedes 1. So, 1 is the least element in our case. There is, if I talk of greatest element in the poset, that is there any element that succeeds all the element in the set? No. Why? Because although 8 and 12 are the maximal elements, but there is no single element that succeeds all the elements in the set. So, therefore, it does not have a greatest element, but it has a least element. Then coming on to the upper bound and the lower bound. So, whenever we talk of upper bound and lower bound, sometimes it is possible to find an element that is greater than all the elements in the subset. We are here talking of subset of A of a power set S. So, if U is the element of S such that A precedes U for all the elements A that belongs to set A, then U is called the upper bound of A. Means I have a set S and I have defined a subset A, where A is a subset of S. Now, there is an element U that belongs to S and this U will precede all the elements of set A. Then U is the lower bound. And if I have defined a U that belongs to S and it succeeds all the elements from the set A, then that is the upper bound. So upper bound and lower bound are defined in the terms of a subset of a set. I have a set S and I have A, that is a subset of S. Now in that, if there is an element from S that will precede all the elements of subset A, then that is the lower bound, and if there is an element in S that will succeed all the elements of A, then that is the upper bound. So there may be a possibility that that upper bound and lower bound may belong to the subset also. So now after the upper bound and the lower bound, there comes a concept of least upper bound and greatest lower bound. Out of that set of that upper bound, the element that precedes all the other upper bounds will be the least upper bound, and greatest lower bound will be out of that lower bound the element that succeeds all the other elements of the lower bound, that will be the greatest lower bound. So the least upper bound means out of the upper bound the least one, and the GLB means from the lower bound set the greatest one. So the element X is called the least upper bound or LUB of the subset A if X is an upper bound that is less than every other upper bound of A. It is less than every other upper bound of A. And the element Y is called the greatest lower bound or GLB if Y is a lower bound and Y whenever Z is a lower bound of A, means it is the greatest lower bound. It is the out of the set of the lower bound, it is the element that is succeeding all the other elements. Now suppose in this question we have to find the greatest least element of the following hash diagrams. Let us take an example of the first diagram. Here the greatest element is F. No other element is succeeding F. The least element here will be A. If you look at this, here the greatest element will be E, but the least element will be none, because these two are the minimal elements, but there is no single element from this set that is preceding all the other elements in the set. Therefore, least element is none. Again in this, here the greatest element will be 5, but the least element does not exist. Why? Because there is 1 and 3 are not comparable. So we cannot say that 1 is the least element. 1 does not precede 3 here. If you look at the last example, here neither the greatest element exists nor the least element, because there is no 7 and 5 or 1 and 2 are not comparable. So the greatest element also does not exist and the least element also does not exist. Suppose if in this question, now it says to find the upper bound and the lower bound of the following hash diagrams. So as I have said before also, upper bounds and lower bounds are defined in the respect of the subsets. Now suppose I have defined a subset CE and I have to find the upper bound for CE. For this CE, is there any element upper bound that exists? So upper bound is D and lower bound that precedes all CE will be B, A and F. This will be the lower bound. So upper bound will be D. Upper bound will be D and the lower bound will be A, B and F. Now if I have to find the greatest lower bound, GLB. So the greatest lower bound will be the element from that lower bound set that will succeed all the other elements. So out of this, B will succeed all these three. B succeeds A also and F also. So the greatest lower bound will be B. And if I talk of least upper bound, so least upper bound here will be D only. So least upper bound will be D and the greatest lower bound will be B. Now suppose I have defined another subset AF. So in this AF, I have to tell the upper bound, lower bound, least upper bound and greatest lower bound. First I talk of lower bounds. Out of A and F, there are no, in this set AF, is there any element that precedes A and F both? No. So therefore the lower bound, it does not exist. So lower bound does not exist. So obviously the greatest lower bound also does not exist. Now talking about the upper bound. In this AF, B, C, E, D, all are the upper bounds. And out of all this, which one is the least upper bound, LUB? So out of B, C, D, E, B is the element that is preceding all the other upper bounds, and therefore B will be the least upper bound. Least upper bounds are also known as supremum, and the greatest lower bounds are also known as infimum. How do I define a lattice? Now when we are clear with the concept of least upper bound and the greatest lower bound, there comes the concept of lattice, which is a partially ordered set in which every pair of element has both a least upper bound and a greatest lower bound. When in a partially ordered set, if I talk of every two pair of elements, and based on that every two pair of elements, if I can identify LUB and GLB both for every two pair, then I say that this is a lattice. So this is an example of lattice. If we take any of the two pairs, I will be able to find out the LUB and GLB. For example, in this diagram, in this figure A, B and C, these are the lattices, because in each poset there exists both least upper bound and greatest lower bound. But figure D, it is not a lattice because it does not have an upper bound for the pair EG. And figure E is also not a lattice because it does not have a least upper bound for BC. So for every two pairs there should exist a GLB and LUB, then only it is a lattice. Thank you.